Noah, the preacher of righteousness. Introduction. Today I to reflect upon the remarkable story of Noah, a man chosen by God to be a preacher of righteousness. His obedience, faithfulness, and commitment to God's message serve as a timeless example for us all. Through Noah's story, we learn valuable lessons about the consequences of ignoring divine warnings and the importance of living a righteous life. Let us delve into this narrative and discover how it can inspire us today. The divine call. Noah's encounter with God was a pivotal moment in his life. He was tasked with an extraordinary mission, to build an ark and gather pairs of animals to preserve life during the impending flood. But Noah's calling went beyond construction. He was called to be a preacher of righteousness. God entrusted him with spreading the message of repentance and salvation to a world steeped in wickedness. 2. The rejection of God's message. Sadly, the people of Noah's time disregarded his warnings. They chose to ignore the righteous path, turning a deaf ear to God's call for repentance. They continued to live in sin and disobedience, blinded by their own desires and selfishness. Their refusal to listen and change ultimately led to their downfall. 3. The Ark of Salvation. Noah's obedience and faithfulness to God were unwavering. Despite facing ridicule, doubt, and scorn from those around him, he persevered. He diligently built the ark according to God's instructions, trusting in his divine plan. As the floodwaters rose, Noah and his family found refuge in the ark, along with the animals God had commanded him to save. They were spared from the destruction that befell the rest of humanity. 4. Lessons for today. Noah's story holds profound significance for us today. It reminds us of the importance of heeding divine warnings and living righteously. We live in a world filled with distractions, temptations, and moral decay. Like Noah, we are called to be preachers of righteousness in our own lives, shining a light amidst the darkness. We must be mindful of the consequences of our choices and strive to align ourselves with God's will. D. Trusting in God's promises. Noah's story is not just a tale of destruction but also of hope and redemption. It teaches us that when we trust in God's promises, even amidst challenging circumstances, He will deliver us. Noah's faith and obedience were rewarded when the floodwaters subsided, and he and his family stepped onto dry land once again. God established a covenant with Noah, symbolized by the rainbow, promising never to destroy the earth by a flood again. Conclusion. As we conclude, let us reflect on the profound lessons we can glean from Noah's story. We are called to be preachers of righteousness, spreading God's message of love, repentance, and salvation in our communities. May we have the courage to stand firm in our faith, even when the world around us rejects the truth. Let us trust in God's promises, knowing that He will guide us through the storms of life. May we learn from Noah's example, living righteously and finding refuge in the ark of God's grace.